Not the garage spousal avoidance center, the bunkhouse where I keep a lot of my fishing gear and where our guests typically stay. Today's task is simple. It's to organize this monstrous spread of fishing lures over the years. I've gone and collected everything, freshwater, saltwater, crappie to salmon to walleye, and everything in between. And today I'm just, I keep buying stuff I probably already have. I just don't know where it is. So today's project is to see what I got, get it sorted out. I kind of fish for, I don't know, maybe 4 different species. And I like to break it down. I got 4 pretty good sized boxes. But I'm going to I do a lot of salmon fishing. That's my predominant go-to fish. Hey, good morning, Giovanni. We're just out here trying to organize this. This is most of my gear, not all of it, just some of it. And I'm hoping to go through and just sort it out. I got all these different types of hooks, lures, and it's all just a mess. I've been collecting this stuff for like 5 years now, and it's just a mess. I keep buying stuff I don't need, and I don't even know what I have. So I'm just gonna go through my boxes, sort everything out. I should probably just throw some of this stuff away, but I'm a fisherman, so I'm definitely not going to do that. On the off chance that I go, crappie fishing or something. And some of my gear is pretty old, I got this little antique lure, and I'll probably never fish it, but it's a little sentimental to me. I'm going to kind of put some of that stuff off to the side. Some of this stuff is pretty easy. This is like a wobbler. We'll go ahead and put him in the bass box. But, I mean, there's probably 6 lines tied onto this thing. So I'm going to try to clean them up and find new homes for them. I've got it broken down. Man, it took me a while to get all this stuff. I've been fishing for, I don't know, I'd say a good 10 years now. And I tend to obsess about things. So when I obsess about something, I kind of put a lot of money or effort into that hobby. And that's how I ended up with so much gear. Some of it was gifted to me. Not a lot of people, where I live is an elderly community. And you can always find a yard sale and pick stuff up. But the problem with that is there's a lot of stuff at yard sales that it's just trash. I'm never going to actually fish it. I kind of got it broken down into 3 categories. This is my ocean salmon box, where we have like Met Flying Seas, everything I need for the ocean. This is bank fishing salmon here, trout, and then bass down at the end. And those are what I typically fish. Salmon is a big one. I fish it 2 different ways, one from the bank, and I also fish salmon from the shore. And that's 2 different styles, and it's 2 different boxes, It's all salmon, but it's all, You know, it depends. If I'm in the boat, sometimes I'll use a lure like a blue fox, like you know, I buy hundreds. No, I don't buy hundreds. I buy a lot of these every year, and that's what I'll use for a salmon. If I'm on the jetty or in the boat, maybe a big wobbler or a spoon. You know, this is a pretty big spoon. I might drag that behind the boat looking for a salmon. But I just gotta kind of get it organized, you know? This is a Brad cut plug. This is what I catch 90% of my coho on, is a Brad cut plug with a mooching rig. I'll run the mooching rig through the Brad up to a bead swivel. And that's my predominant boat setup. But I got other stuff, you know. I got tangled up rigs, but this is like a plunking setup, but it's so twisted I might as well just restart. And that just involves spin glows to a weight to a three-way. Different rigs, different setups. But my problem is nothing's organized, and I keep going out and buying shit. I keep going out and buying shit I already have. And I haven't gone through some of this stuff in years. You know? I can't read your screen name, but I'm old, bro. So like, I just collected this stuff over a course of a lifetime. I mean, if you're a young kid starting out, you just kind of start out with what you got. I've been at this fishing game for a while now, and you know, you just kind of build it up over time. You get different yard sales or estate sales. And sometimes you end up changing what you fish for, you know? I started out fishing a worm and a bobber in the backyard pond. Hey, shout out to Moscow, man. Don't know too much about the area, but what are you fishing for, bro? What are you fishing for in Moscow? You know, as you get older, your interests kind of change. This is just a little like a square bill wobbler. I'm gonna put him over here in the basket. I actually had a subscriber give me this. This is like a deep diver, and this thing has got to be from like the 70s or the 80s. And wanting to catch a fish on this, I just haven't got to it yet. We'll put him in the bass box, you know. I used to do all fresh water as like a kid, and even into my adult years, I'd fish trout and perch, that kind of thing, and I'm just getting back into that now. But never was too big into bass, but I got my own box now. Bass are pretty predominant where I live. And Jaden, thanks for being up in here. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate you taking the time to check out the live, man. Or woman, I don't know. But, you know, I just ended up with all this stuff, and I just stuff it into these different drawers. And I'm just kind of going through, seeing what I got. You know? And it's just tons of stuff. Like this is just a little popper for bass with the diver on it. And my problem is I use the same fishing lures all the time. So when I lose one, I don't venture out. I got a whole table full of crud, you know, drawers and drawers of this stuff. You know, everything from little inline spinners to a bunch of flies. Got tons of fly gear. Ned rigs with soft plastic, you know. And eventually you end up with so much stuff you don't even really know what you got. So I'm just trying to getting it organized. Salmon season's coming up, and that's kind of what sparked all this. I'm getting ready to get the boat ready. I live right by the Pacific Ocean. It's about a mile that way. And I go out across the Columbia River Bar a couple times a year, and that's the most deadly bar in the Pacific Northwest, where I'm from. People lose their life there every year. But once you know how to fish it, hey, this is cool. I didn't even know I had this. This is just a little buzz bait. Drag that across the top water, hopefully hook up a largemouth bass. Just kind of going through, you know, some of the stuff is pretty good. I might actually use it. Some of the stuff I should just donate for scrap. But we're finding all kinds of cool stuff. We got a little pocket frog here. And the reason why I want to go through it, it's got tons of old line on it. It's probably been tied up, I don't know, 6 times. I think I see 6 different knots on this little frog. Just kind of breaking everything down by species. I'm doing multiple species for the salmon because there's 2 different ways I fish it. That's my go-to fish. I live pretty close to largest river in Washington State, which happens to be the Columbia, and it's predominantly where I do most of my fishing. I do head out into the ocean once in a while, a couple times a year, chasing big fish. You know, and then occasionally I just run across stuff that I have no idea what it is. You know, I think this is a little diver for what I'm guessing to be perch, or for like ice fishing, but there's no ice fishing where I live. It doesn't get cold enough for that. And, you know, some of the stuff, okay, so I got a bass box. Do I want to go, you know, freshwater bass, or do I want to do the salt? Because I almost feel like I need a completely different box because I fish them different. A freshwater bass, you're just kind of throwing a jig, a worm, a plopper, some kind of top bait. But if I'm fishing off the jetty for sea bass, I'm definitely going to run a little heavier of a jig, something like that. And I got bags of this stuff. You know, we got inline spinners, rooster tails. That could be for a bass, or it could be for a lot of different things. I'll hit an inline spinner. But I got, you know, these in all different kinds and shapes and sizes. I got smaller ones, tiger tails. I'm thinking I'm going to put that in a trout box. But I mean, it's just a lifetime supply of rooster tails. Unless you had to do a creek bank, right? If you're trying to creek bank fish, then rooster tails are Columbia is the one that's the river that I fish, and I fish the mouth. It's called Buoy 10. And I'll head out not too far offshore because I'm not overly confident, to be honest with you. The boat could probably do more. It's just I get nervous if, especially if it's really foggy and I can't see the shore. And I know the boat could probably do a little more but I don't want to push it. Furthest I ever got off coast was halibut fishing, and they were about 35 miles out. But the problem with that is I'm cheap. It's not cost effective to take the boat 35 miles out and spend $100 in gas to catch a $25 fish, you know? And I get it, like it's about the experience of catching the fish, but I'm broke. I'm not broke, but I mean I'm not balling. You know what I'm saying? So running $200 in gear to catch a halibut is just not my forte. I usually just head down to the jetty, or I'll fish salmon a little closer to shore. But I'm not gonna lie, when I get out there, 10 miles and I can't see the coastline anymore, and there's fog and you can't see 100 yards in front of your boat, and all you're doing is relying on your GPS that's as old as you are, it's a little nerve-wracking. I don't mind crossing the bar. Like I said, it is one of the deadliest bars in the West Coast. They call it the graveyard of the Pacific. But that doesn't bother me too much. You just kind of cherry pick your days and hope for the best. Last year I was out crabbing for Dungeness crabs off the it's called the North Jetty, and it's just right before you get out in the ocean, about halfway through the bar. And the guy I was with, it wasn't my boat, I was on a buddy's boat. He ran over some crab traps and fouled up his motor. The lines got caught up in the crab trap, and I said, well, shit, we're fouled up on the main motor. Let's kick on the kicker. The kicker is like a trolling motor, just typically an outboard on the back of the boat. And he's like, oh, my kicker doesn't work. And I said, well, you should have fucking told me that before we got out here. What do you mean your kicker doesn't work? And he's like, I don't have blah, blah, blah. My kicker doesn't work. So now we're dead in the water, right in the middle of the Columbia River Bar. And we're about 100 yards off of the jetty. And the jetty is just big boulders. And tide's coming in, and we're about 150 yards from getting slammed into the jetty. So he does an SOS. Next thing I know, a Coast Guard cutter pulls up, hooks us up, tows us back to port. But long story short is I haven't been crabbing with that dude since. You know what I mean? If I'm all for playing big boy games, but you got to be prepared, man. Like I said, people lose their life on this bar, and you got to have. There was no reason for him not to have that kicker. And if you're wondering how much does it cost to get saved by the Coast Guard? Nothing, man. It's free. They will help you out if your life is immediately in danger. If you run out of gas or something, or your boat breaks down, they're not a tow service. You're on your own. But kayak fishing, once in a while, man, if I have to, but in my opinion, kayaks aren't that comfortable. You sit real low, legs flat out in front of you, and a lot of times you're up here paddling, and I'm just not about that. You know what I mean? I much prefer a John boat, something I don't have to paddle, I was hoping I'd be able to save this rig. It's just a plunking rig. I use it on the river for salmon. It's basically a high-low rig with the spin glow hooked up to it. But this one is just too tangled. Last year I was out on the Columbia running a rig similar to this. How this works is you got two mooching rigs. A mooching rig is just a fancy word for two hooks like this that slip up and down and move. And you got your spin glow, three-way swivel, another mooching rig, another spin glow. And I predominantly use these for salmon or steelhead. Steelhead, I'll absolutely go after those all day long. And I was out fishing. Yeah, so this is the basic setup for a spin glow. You got your beads. You can run whatever kind of hook you want, but I like to run the mooching rig and it slips. So these hooks are adjustable and you can move them out to whatever size you want. And sometimes I'll run that behind a cut plug if we're doing salmon fishing. I was hoping I'd be able to save some of this stuff, but it's pretty shot. Rode hard and put away wet. That's the problem. You know, you can buy these so that's what I'm gonna use if I'm out in like the Columbia River. I don't know what you want to call it. I call it a salmon rig. But you got your three-way swivel. You got your main line coming up to the top. Drop down about, I don't know, 12 to 18 inches to your spin glow with your mooching rig. And that's the way to go. You can also run a little simpler setup. This is just this is another one of my favorites. You got these big weights down there in the Columbia. That current is just ripping. But this is another one of my favorite ways to plunk for salmon. We got just a spreader, 8-ounce weight, runs up to your spin glow to the mooching rig. What I like about the mooching rig versus just like a treble is you got two hooks and you can put like coon shrimp on there or something along those lines. That's kind of my salmon gear setup. I got bags and bags of these soft plastics. And all of those can just go in my bass bag. Hooks upon hooks. I mean, these are just all bass hooks that I've acquired. More bass hooks, which are like 3/0 gap. I've been really falling in love with these Ned rigs lately. They're just a simple hook, but they got other hooks, little weight on it. Those have been crushing, you know, in the backyard, just absolutely hooking up fish. Also got like a large box of shank hooks, circles, gaps. And all of these kind of have different purposes, you know. all kinds of weights. I don't know where this fits into the world. It's like a little diver. I think you'd use it for like perch. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the trout tackle box. Got big 6-ounce disc weights. Slip shot. Bullet weights. Bass sinkers. Just trying to go through and kind of get organized. Hey, if you're here, thanks for checking out the channel, man. We're just trying to get organized. I ended up old, and I have like probably 10 years of fishing gear, and I fish the same freaking lures and buy new stuff all the time. All of this stuff was just kind of stuffed into drawers, put away, probably hasn't seen the light of day in 10 years. I'm just trying to clean it up, go through it, get it organized. Got it broke down into 4 different categories because it seems to be predominantly what I fish. We got bass, trout, salmon from the bank, and then salmon from the boat. And I also have this little mystery collection where I'm not sure on what it's designed for. Occasionally I'll run across something like this. And thanks, Grandpa, but I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be catching on it, you know? But some of it is pretty cool. Like I came across this hand wooden lure. Sorry, he's got a cheap one hooked to it. But hand carved lure, which is kind of cool. I went ahead and put him in the bass box. He's got a little bit, you know, that's a big diver, man. He's running deep. But somebody put a whole lot of love into that lure, you know? Yeah, some of this stuff is just kind of like, we'll say vintage. And I'm just kind of going through, getting a little organized. And I mean, this is just, there's so much more stuff I have. I have like a whole lifetime supply of like crappie rigs and jigs and just stuff I've been given over the years, you know? This is called a Spinrite something Josh, Una Josh with some like, appears to be foreign writing. I don't know, I've never seen one. We got 2 trebles, some kind of jig in the middle. Hold on, I gotta let my best friend in. That's my fearless companion there. You know how they say dogs are like emotional support animals? I think it's kind of a reversed role. I think I'm her emotional support human. She's just a Chihuahua Dachshund mix. And she's really timid and just kind of shy, but it's my wife's dog. Allegedly, but I end up carrying her around everywhere I go. She's part of every adventure. You know, this just looks like a little cut piece of metal with some lead on the front. I think this would be like a jig for perch if you were doing some like ice fishing. I think I'm going to throw him in the... yeah, these are weird. There's no marking, no identify. I mean, it looks like a piece of sheet metal with some lead welded on. The tie-on point is right here, so I'm thinking it would dive down. Just a strange lure. I think I'm going to put him in the trout pile. Let's see what this says. This is a Little George. I have, that's all it says. That's what the blade on it says. The dog's name is Bailey. The Little George. This thing smells like the 70s. Not that I know, because I wasn't there. Fishing area. A little bit messy, but we're trying to get it all cleaned out. But it's just drawer after drawer of fishing stuff. Here's another buzz bait. Just trying to get organized, go through, see what I got. I think that's, oh, this is like my, I'll flip you around so you can see it. These are just antique fishing lures I got. They're kind of just hanging out along my windowsill. Couple kites. This whole area is just, I call it the bunkhouse. And it's just a little separate area from the house. And it's got wood paneling, and it's definitely a 70s vibe. And I just never updated it because, well, the 70s vibe doesn't really bother me, to be honest. I think it's cool. I think it was originally built as a hot tub room. A hot tub room from the 70s. They had it all kinds of wild swinger parties, I would assume. But this is just a brass Blue Fox. Blue Fox number 5. He's pretty big. Let me drop you down and move the camera angle a little bit. But this is what we're doing. We're organizing our gear. I don't know. I don't know what I would do with this Little George. I mean, he definitely feels like solid lead. I don't know. Bass, trout. What would you do with them? I think I'm going to put him in the trout box. Blue Fox is definitely going to be either the boat or the jetty. This looks like a busted up spin bait, like for bass. Put him in the bass box. Getting down there. Also picked up I fish a different river for salmon, the Nacelle. There you go. I just gave my spot away, but I don't think anybody's driving any amount of distance to fish the Nacelle. And I fish these jigs, and they really should have their own box because it's not the jetty, it's not the boat, it's not really a bank. It is a bank, kind of, but you're not going to pitch a spin glow. Yeah, choices, you know, it's just choices in life. I think it really deserves its own box because I fished. So now we're talking about making a whole new box for a different river. Same fish, different area of fishing. Oh man, it's the project that never ends. That was my boss. If anybody asks, I am very ill today. this fever. Just kidding. I work for myself, which sucks. Everybody's like, oh, work for yourself. The problem is working for yourself is you don't have anybody to blame. There's no set schedule. And if you do a crappy job on your job, you just don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? So it's, it sounds like it's the dream, but you gotta be careful. I mean, just hook after hook. I mean, these are bass hooks. These are, I don't know, predominantly shank hooks, I guess. These are more like 2/0 gap or 3/0 gap. And I mean, there's 120 there. There's probably 50 here. It's just, I got a lot of stuff, man. And you know what? You know how many times I've bought hooks already this year? I've probably been to the store and bought hooks 5 different times, just because I didn't know where they were. They were lost in the tote. Didn't want to look. Didn't know if I had them. So I'd say this is gonna save me some money, but I mean, it's fishing, so realistically, it's not. I'm still gonna spend money, but hopefully this kind of gets me going in the right direction. What I don't have that I'm looking for is just normal hooks, like a circle hook, like you would use on bass, or not bass, or trout, or just any these, like just a regular, I think that's an octopus hook. And my supply of that is pretty limited. I'm trying to go through and snip the clips. Some of these lures have, if you ever fish in the Columbia for salmon, these things are like 12 bucks a piece, and they're called the Mepps Flying C, but they absolutely crush. This is one of my favorite lures to throw down on the jetty. I can drop you down, switch the angle up. I don't know if you guys can hear the angry Canadians in the bath, but I live on a small pond. It's about 4.5 acres. There is bluegill, perch, no crappie. What else is out there? Spotted bass, which I'm trying to get rid of, as well as largemouth. And I fish it every day live at 7 p.m. If you guys are around and that sounds like something you'd want to do, feel free to swing by. I don't typically go live during the middle of the day because mainly because of bills, right? If I didn't have bills, I could go live during the middle of the day. Today is kind of just an exception. I work as a handyman out in the elderly community, and I had a big painting job all lined up, but I can't paint if it's raining. I got all the prep work, everything's already taped off. Hopefully the tape holds and it'll be ready to go for tomorrow. So I figured I would just come in here, clean up my gear, and get organized. This particular rig is called a Slim Jim, and you would use it for kokanee. And if you've never heard of a kokanee, What a kokanee is a mini salmon or a landlocked salmon. And the meat's really identical. The only difference being is kokanee are about 8 to 12 inches. Big one could get up to, 15, 16. And salmon are huge. A big Chinook can weigh anywhere from a couple pounds up to 30. And I just got back. It's been a little bit now, but I went out and did a 4-day camping trip and picked up a bunch of kokanee, like 30. Me and the wife and my father-in-law went out and we did some kokanee fishing. And this is called the Ace of Spades. It's similar. And what you got is a diver, connects to your main line, 3 or 4 blades. And then what I'll typically do is run like a wedding ring off of this. And then a piece of corn. Corn, everybody's been fishing with corn since the beginning of time. But if it works, that's what it works, Trying to find my little clippers. I set them down somewhere. Failure to be organized. You guys thought just what was on the table was there? No, man. Like I said, I got years and years of this. You guys want to see the rod collection real quick? I mean, this is just part of it, but this is my freshwater gear.